One of the thoughts that I had, I was thinking about people that are living with someone who's in addiction. One of our books says that it's like living with a live, uncaged rattlesnake. Basically, you never know when you're going to get hugged, when you're going to get slugged. And one of the common things that happens in a situation like that is the addict needs someone to face the consequences for his actions, which we call the codependent. And that codependent person is the one who calls in for him on Monday mornings, or her calls in for them for their rent, pays their rent, makes excuses for them, makes excuses for the family. The problem is as long as you are facing the consequences for their choices, they're not going to change. They don't have to change. Why would they change? If you're going to pay their rent for them, if you're going to make their car payment for them, if you're going to give them money when they blow it all on drugs, and you're going to continue to enable that behavior, why would they have to change? One thing to understand from a codependent's perspective is you have to understand this person doesn't like pain. This is why they're using drugs or alcohol. So one of the best things that you can do for that person is to remove the pillow. When they start having to face the consequences for their actions, they start having to feel pain. They don't like pain. When they start having to feel that pain and they start having to deal with the reality of their choices, the consequences for their choices, that's what begins the process of their change. They start going, hey, maybe I need to do something about this. But as long as you keep putting that pillow underneath them, they're going to continue to do whatever they want to do. And listen, you may have this deep fear inside of you that's saying, well, if I don't help them, they're going to die. Well, let's just take a real good look at what you've been doing. How's that working out? How's all your efforts? How's all your money that you've spent? How's everything that you've put into this? Are they changing, or are they getting worse? See, that's what you have to evaluate. That's what you have to look at. Is what I'm doing working? Okay. Now, I'm going to tell you what does work. What does work is close your eyes, walk that person over, put them in the hands of Jesus. Put them there, leave them there. Okay. Then you go get with some people that could help you. You start working on you. You start dealing with you. You start working on your fears. You start working on your need to control them and try to fix them. You start working on your stuff. And there's an old saying, it's the bombshell theory. And the bombshell theory is, I can't change anybody by direct action. I can only change myself by God's grace. Other people have a tendency to change in direct reaction to my change. So if you really want change to happen in your situation, then you start changing. You start working on you. You start dealing with you. Quit enabling the person who's addicted. Because the more you enable them, the more they're going to keep doing what they're doing. Why? Because they don't have to change. They don't have to do anything different. They can keep doing what they want to do. And you keep getting more hurt, more bitter, more angry. Let me give you a reality that maybe you're struggling with. You're not going to fix them. You can't fix them. Okay? You running a rehab in your house isn't solving the problem. Okay? They need a rehab, but it ain't your rehab. Your rehab isn't helping them. They need help. They need change. And the only way they're going to begin to change is to face the consequences for their action. Quit bailing them out of jail. Quit paying their rent. Quit paying their car payment. Let those chips fall where they may, okay? And watch what happens. Now, I want to say this to you. I worked with a man that I greatly respect. His name was Hugh Murrow, and I watched him work with some parents one day. Their son came in for an interview, and he wasn't ready to change. And then I watched Hugh work with this couple for the next hour, talking to them about their codependency, the struggle in the mom's face and the mom's eyes and the weeping and the father and just that struggle. And what Hugh determined, and I watched him do this many times, but he would determine who was the weak one and who was the strong one. He would find the one who could say no and the one who couldn't, and he would minister to the one who couldn't. But at the end of this, what he said, and it was so powerful, he looked at them both as parents of this child, and he said, listen, at the end of the day, do what you can lay your head on the pillow at night and live with. Draw the lines with your loved one that you can live with. Do the best that you can to try to help him come into a place of change. Do what you can live with. And so that's what I would say. If you're with this person and they're running your life and you're living in fear, you're never knowing what's going to happen, that's no way to live. God has more for you than that. He has much more for you than that. He hasn't called you to a life like that, okay? He's called you to much more than that. He has a hope and a future for you. He doesn't want you to live and constantly walking on eggshells every single day. That's not his heart for you or anybody. Start getting help for yourself. Start working on your stuff. Quit enabling the person that's addicted and watch what happens. Change will begin to happen. Now, I'm going to give you a little clue in this, okay? And I want you to hear me. Sometimes things got to get ugly before they get good. And that's a reality in this situation. Things could get ugly before they get good, okay? But I want to make you this promise. If you stay on the course, it'll get good. There'll be change. Listen, at the end of the day, I'm not talking about their change. I'm talking about your change. Love you.